Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. So we'll call on Donna Burns, voting method and scrutineers presentation. I'm excited.
Apologize for didn't get a chance. I was working on this up at the very last minute here too, so I have hard copies here for everybody. Yep.
So if you open that up and then you can just
Okay. Mayor Johnson and councillors, the original intent of my delegation today was to inquire into the following: the depth of research done by this council on the risks regarding cybersecurity for internet voting, whether this council used outside expertise to determine and identify the risks for internet voting, what procedures council would put in place to remove the potential for identity theft, fraud, and over-the-shoulder coercion, and council's level of awareness about the security and release of resident information to third-party commercial vendors. However, in preparing for this delegation, I have since discovered information that brings into question the lawfulness of the 2018 municipal election in the Whitewater region. Therefore, my presentation tonight will focus solely on the legality of the 2018 municipal election and the possible options available to this council. On April 19, 2017, a year and a half ago, Whitewater Council passed a bylaw, 1704-942. This bylaw authorized advanced and alternate voting and vote counting equipment for the 2018 municipal and school board election. Later that evening, this bylaw was taken as read and passed by confirming bylaw 1704-943. This was a major procedural error. Bylaw 1704-942 is not lawful. Let me repeat, it is not lawful. As you can see, bylaw 1704-942 reads, the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Meaford enacts as follows. This council operates as the corporation of the Township of Whitewater Region. This council is not the corporation of the Municipality of Meaford. It is not lawful for our mayor and clerk to sign another corporation's bylaw. Therefore, bylaw 1704-942 passed on April 19th, 2017 is of no force and effect. Further, when council passed their confirming bylaw 1704-943, that night they confirmed an invalid bylaw. Consequently, the corporation of the Township of Whitewater Region has no authority to hold the 2018 election using advanced and alternative voting and vote counting equipment. Municipalities are responsible for ensuring that their decisions comply with all legal requirements. The corporation of the Township of Whitewater Region is now in a precarious position. The Council of Whitewater Region should have known and ought to have known the lawful requirements to ensure that the residents would have the ability to vote on October 22nd. Through the negligence of council, the inherent right of Whitewater Region residents to vote has been denied. Does the Township of Whitewater Region intend to continue with its unlawful use of internet telephone voting in violation of the Municipal Elections Act? Does the Township of Whitewater Region intend to continue with its unlawful advanced voting in violation of the Municipal Elections Act? Does the Township of Whitewater Region intend to continue with its unlawful use of vote counting equipment? Before council makes its decision on how to proceed, they should be aware of the following. If council decides to bring forward a new bylaw to authorize advanced and alternative voting and vote counting equipment, they will be proceeding unlawfully. The deadline for doing such a bylaw was May 1st, 2017. This slide shows the altered or corrected version of bylaw 1704-94. It now reads, "The Council of the Corporation of Whitewater Region enacts as follows." This altered or corrected version was found on the municipal website under bylaws for 2017. This altered or corrected version differs from the original version found on the April 19, 2017 agenda, which was shown to you in slide number 1. This altered or corrected version is unlawful for the following reasons. The agenda and the minutes are the official record. The mayor made no statement that bylaw 1704-942 being brought before council on April 19, 2017 had been amended and was being substituted for the version as indicated on the agenda. There is no mention in the minutes of the April 19, 2017 council meeting of an amended version of bylaw 942, nor of any discussion relating to the correction of a possible error. Under the Municipal Act 2001, a bylaw is without effect if there is a conflict between the bylaw and a provincial act or regulation. It is the role of council to ensure the accountability and transparency of the operations of the municipality, including the activities of the senior management of the municipality. This does not appear to have been done. It is the role of the head of council to provide information and recommendations to the council with respect to ensuring the accountability and transparency of the operations of the municipality. By signing an altered or corrected version of bylaw 1704-942, which is without force and effect, the mayor as head of council has failed to perform the duties as noted in the Municipal Act. Further, the mayor is not authorized to unilaterally create and sign a new bylaw without bringing it before council. This is a violation of the Municipal Act. It is the duty of the clerk to record without note or comment all resolutions, decisions, or other proceedings of the council, and to keep the originals or copies of all bylaws and of all minutes of the proceedings of the council. By signing the altered or corrected version of bylaw 1704-942, which is without force and effect, and placing this version on the municipal website under the bylaws section, the clerk is in violation of his duties under the Municipal Act. Further, the clerk is not authorized to unilaterally create and sign a new bylaw without bringing it before council. This is a violation of the Municipal Act. A record of a municipality may only be destroyed if a retention period has expired or the record is a copy of the original record. In this case, the record on the municipal website has been altered or corrected, not destroyed. The original record of bylaw 942 still remains on the April 19, 2017 agenda. This is now bylaw 1403688, which authorized telephone internet voting for the 2014 municipal election. Council has never repealed this bylaw. It would appear this bylaw could be used to authorize council to continue and proceed with the internet telephone voting for the 2018 elections. However, this is not the case, as bylaw 1403688 is also invalid. References to sections cited in the Municipal Act are not accurately cited or do not exist. As council is required by law to hold a municipal election, this municipality cannot proceed under the current version of the Municipal Elections Act. The deadlines required by statute for the implementation of alternate voting methods by council has passed. Since the statute deadline has passed, council must use the authority of an older version of the Municipal Elections Act, March 14, 2016 to June 8, 2016, that includes section 41, subsection 1, before it was repealed on June 9, 2016. This version will allow council to continue to hold an election on October 22nd using the traditional paper ballot method with a hand count of same. May I remind council of section 448, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act. If councilors act in bad faith, they are personally liable. This council has now been informed that bylaw 1704-942 has no force and effect. As a result, the corporation of the Township of Whitewater Region does not have the authority to hold the 2018 election using advanced and alternative voting and vote counting equipment. If council intends to proceed without the authority to do so, they will be acting in bad faith. Protecting the democratic process and the integrity of any election is of paramount importance to me, and I hope to everyone else. The voters of this municipality will be watching carefully to see what decision their council makes. Thank you for your time. I've also here some petitions you may be aware of. The public, a lot of the members of the public are very unhappy that they did not get the opportunity to be able to vote by paper ballot for election day. So here's some petitions. I've also attached at the back of this some research information for you to be aware of on the risks associated with cybersecurity and internet voting. I think you'll find it very enlightening and very educational. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Donna. I will get our CAO to speak to this.
So one thing is that obviously that was a typo. It should be known that I was the clerk in the municipality of Meaford, so obviously any good clerk will borrow from others in terms of bylaws, so that was a typo. I should point out though that section 30.0 that deals with bylaws in the procedural bylaw of council, number 30.3 states, the CAO clerk or designate is hereby authorized to make such minor deletions, additions, or other changes in form to any bylaw before same is signed and sealed for the purpose of ensuring correct and complete implementation of the actions of council. So yes, the bylaw that was on the agenda contained a typo, referred to the wrong township, so that issue was corrected in keeping with the authorities that were provided to me as the clerk under 30.3. So to say that it's invalid because there's a typo, I think is a bit of a stretch. In terms of internet, and I appreciate there's research there on cybersecurity, and I think that's very important to have. But I should point out that this is the third election that this township has used for internet and telephone voting. So therefore, I think that there's a proven track record. We're working with Dominion Voting that is also working with 122 municipalities in the province. Lastly, other than passing this bylaw, let's be clear that under the Municipal Elections Act, the responsibility for running the election is that of the clerk. You can hold me to account for that, and this council or the next council can hold me accountable for that. This council does not have a role in the running of the election because 6 of them are seeking re-election. So this will be my third election, so I'm fairly comfortable that I've done this before and I'm comfortable with how we're running the election. So I just wanted to point out that, yes, I acknowledge that was the typo in the agenda, but section 30.3 of the procedural bylaw allows the CAO clerk before signature to correct any typos, which was done, and which was done before the mayor and I signed, in keeping with the report I had made at the previous meeting of council, very clearly on the voting process. I should point out that we're extending paper ballots to 4 locations at 4 different times to allow for people to come out to vote between 10 and 8 p.m., adding Beachburg and Ross Township in addition to Westmeath and Cobden. As I've encouraged other candidates to do, is if there's any questions regarding the process, to please speak to me. Some have availed themselves and others haven't. Although I do appreciate that the delegation feels this is a matter of public concern, but I would rather point out that it is a typo, and sometimes they do happen, and the typo was corrected before signature in keeping with what the procedural bylaw says.
I appreciate it was a typo error. I'm not saying it wasn't, and I understand that you do that. Everybody does that,
Yeah.
and everybody's entitled to human error. However, it does state in section 5 that the council must pass the bylaws. So this error was not brought to their attention in order for this error to be corrected and noted on the minutes and for them to pass with the altered bylaw.
But Donna, as section 30.3 says, typos in bylaws can be corrected before they're signed.
Okay.
And I think everybody would assume that that was a typo and it was corrected before the bylaw was signed, which is in keeping with what the procedural bylaw says and provides the authority to do. So
you said 30.3 of what?
the council procedural bylaw, which is bylaw 1801-1035, which was passed. Council's procedural bylaw speaks to our meetings, our agendas, all of those things, voting, debates, and that bylaw was passed on the 24th day of January 2018. So it's what
So
guides
that was the
council's
council
work.
procedural bylaw, but this is municipal legislation,
So the council,
Section 5 of the Municipal Act, which would have be more superior to your procedural bylaw, I would think.
well, the Municipal Act also says the council is to pass a procedural bylaw that deals with its affairs with its meetings. And the procedural bylaw provides guidance on how we conduct our meetings, including bylaws. And as I said, that item is in the procedural bylaw and provides the opportunity to correct typos before the bylaw is signed. And I would say that's pretty typical, having worked in the municipal sector for 17 years.
Okay, thank you for your time. I will, so what you're basically, sorry.
Councillor Olmsted.
Donna, you're speaking of paper ballots on the.
Yes.
Do you think that having paper ballots on the election day would have an advantage or disadvantage to one candidate over another candidate in certain regions, or what's your thoughts on that?
The paper ballots, a lot of people are not very secure with internet voting. And you know for yourself with Facebook, what happened with the identity thefts and whatever with that. A lot of people do not trust the internet. And as you know, in the last election, there was problems with the telephones being jammed and whatever. So there were issues regarding the electronic version. People are comfortable with the paper ballots. They want to be able to use the paper ballots, and they like the paper ballots on the day of election. For a lot of elderly people, and we do have an elderly demographics here, we do have a lot of elderly people. Election day is the one day that they will remember more than all these other 4 alternate dates and when they're supposed to be when and where. Then there's the issue of if somebody didn't see the notice that there's alternate voting or paper ballots on these alternate dates, they miss that, and they plan on voting on election day and everything. They don't pay any attention to any pin or whatever that they get ahead of them. They're going to come to vote on election day and be denied that right to vote. There's always that. So I think in fairness to the people of the municipality, you should remain open the paper ballots on election day.
Thank you.
We felt that having 5 locations, we have 4 locations, and then the last election we had 2. And it didn't work really well because we were 2 o'clock in the morning before we had the results. So we thought to give a better chance to the people that wanted to vote with the paper ballot, we chose to have the same system as the Ontario election used, with paper ballots in an advance poll. We felt that might be giving our residents a lot better chance. And I'll turn that over now to Councillor McLaughlin.
I think, and I brought this to Robert's attention, that there's also polls at both of the nursing homes, which we did after it was brought forward. I think it was corrected. So actually, there is 6 polling stations. So that part was brought to my attention, and I brought it to Robert's attention, and that was resolved right there.
My thoughts on this is that the people were not consulted. And I think that's where you as public officials represent the people, and the people should have been consulted. You got 4 years between elections, and I think that's a big, huge consideration. Our democracy is already starting to fail in other ways. So this is something that elderly people have to be given the option to vote, and they want to vote. They've been doing it since the beginning of Canada, is to be able to vote by paper ballot, and their ballots are secret. That's a big factor to them. There's no secure method with this internet voting that their ballots are received or that they are secret. And you will see that in the research, and that should have been investigated, and it still should be investigated for any future councils. It's a serious thing that should be taken into consideration. Is there anything else?
This council actually did spend a lot of time talking to people about how they wanted the paper ballot to remain and be available over the last 4 years, and this is pretty much what we're doing, what they suggested throughout the municipality.
Well, I don't know how you did it, Mayor, because there's a lot of people that felt that they were not consulted, and they're very upset at the fact that there is no paper ballots scheduled for the election day. So,
And we can't please everybody, we understand, but I did talk to a lot of people at a lot of functions about that. So, okay?
I'm done.
Yeah, thank you very much. Any other questions from council? No? Okay. Thank you, Donna. We will be having a break. Sorry, Councillor McLaughlin.
Well, I'm up for a break, but I'm just wondering if we could go to bylaw 18-1.
Yeah, we could. Let these people go ahead.
Would you consider doing that before the break?
Before we do that, we'd have to just deal with 7.1A, if we can deal with the building committee, and then we could jump to the bylaw.
I'll just ask, are we keeping you on? Okay, then we'll follow the procedure, but thanks, Darrell, we appreciate it. Break. Yeah, break.